Mailbag Monday is back. We're talking about eliminating those corner three-pointers that I talked about, Brad Stevens' future, a script that the Celtics could follow, and fun rules changes. It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining Jase, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every Monday through Friday. We're back to the daily grind, Monday through Friday for you, so take us with you to work, to getting ready for work, to school, whatever it is. I'm just happy that you're doing it on a Monday through Friday basis. Thank you for making me part of your daily routine. I'm John Karalis. I played ball a long, long time ago. Now my job is to cover the Boston Celtics for Boston Sports Journal and talk about them for you here on the podcast. Today's a Mailbag Monday, so we're opening it up. Later on, we'll have some fun rules changes, not rules changes that are actually going to happen, but things I would love to see because it would be so cool. Talk about that later. The writers are on strike, but I get to write a script for the Celtics that would be kind of cool for this season, Brad Stevens' future. And we'll begin the whole first segment. I did a podcast last week saying I want to eliminate corner three-pointers. That one I actually want to happen. And so there are people who asked a lot of questions about that. Today's show brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Right now, you new customers, you can bet $5. That's it. And you get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. My whole thing about the eliminating the corner three-pointer is just, I think it's too easy a shot to be getting 3 points. Basically, the crux of it is it's a 22-footer. It's too easy for guys to hit that and still get 3-pointers when the top of the key is 23-9. I want to eliminate that. I think you just keep the top of the key. You continue that curve down to the sidelines. You don't go straight down. You don't have that break. And let the 2-point, let guys figure it out in that 2-point line. We have decades of the corner three not being an emphasis, and there was good basketball. They can figure it out. You want to listen to that podcast? It was last Wednesday. So it was last week, Wednesday podcast. Well, the questions started pouring in. So here are a few of them. Starts with Brixon, who says, somebody in the comments suggested players be awarded 2 free throws for a foul on a made layup, resulting in a potential 4-point play, mitigating the heavy reliance on the 3-ball. What are your thoughts? I don't want to mess with the game to potentially I don't want to recalibrate the reliance on the 3 by piling on more kind of goofiness. I understand if you say, hey, drive, try to finish through contact. If you get the and one, you can get a 4-point play out of that. I understand the thought process. That's too much though. I think the 3-pointer just going down 23-9 to just right to the sidelines is enough. You don't have to mess with how many free throws or point values or anything like that. It's a simple fix. You still have a line where if you hit from behind there, that's a special kind of shot and you should get an extra point for it. But because the 3 is so much more than 2, it's 50% more points if you make that one shot. To get that shot down the sidelines, that 22-footer, makes no sense for me. Now, Tanner says, what are your thoughts on expanding the sideline so the corner 3 feet is 23 with the extra space behind it? That, I think, I didn't include that as part of my argument because I just don't see the court dimensions changing. They're not going to remove a row of seats. And they're not going to, even if you say, well, they'll just push, you're basically losing a row up top. But you're not. You're still losing an entire row up and down the sidelines. And I that's a lot of money. That's just a lot of money over the course of a season. And even if it's the top row of the lower bowl, those are still expensive seats. And anything that costs them money is not going to happen. Now, it would be the easiest solution. That would be actually probably a better solution. Widen the floor by a few feet, which I would love anyway. Widen it by 3 feet on each side. And then push the I didn't do the math on this, but whatever it is, and then have the 3-pointer still be 23-9. So you're adding 3 feet, you're adding 2 feet to the 3-pointer, you're adding a little extra space on the sideline. Perfect solution for me. I think the players have gotten so big and fast and all of that having that little tiny wedge on the sideline, I'm sick of seeing guys step out of bounds. So I would love to have the floor widened. That would be a more palatable solution to me than even eliminating the corner 3-pointers. You just make it 23-9 and all across the board, that changes a lot. Like guys that are kind of iffy above the break, but were great on the corners. Well, hey, guess what? Now you're iffy all over the place and things change. So I would love to do that. Not going to happen though. My eliminate the corner 3 would happen before they widen the floor. But if they want to widen the floor, I'm 100% on board. Miles, last one on the corner 3-pointers. Instead of removing the corner 3s, what about removing defensive 3 seconds? FIBA seems to have less corner 3s, but that could also be the different 3-point line. FIBA is a shorter, but it's uniform 3-point line. I believe it's the same. I don't think it's 22 feet, but it's closer than the NBA. I should have looked this up, but so their 3-pointer is uniform around the perimeter. So that changes a lot. You don't have to have the corner. The corner 3 is there. And so the emphasis on the corner 3 is there because it's a 22-foot shot. It's 1 foot 9 inches closer to the basket. And a lot of guys, think about Kevin Garnett. Remember when Kevin Garnett would take those top of the key jumpers and it was like, dude, just step back 2 feet and it's a 3-pointer. Just take the 3-pointer. And he never wanted to take the 3. Well, if he was in the corner, that would be a 3-pointer. Those shots that are infuriating because they're a step in from the 3-point line. Well, now on the corner, they're normal. That get you extra point there. I don't think that's reasonable. I don't think that ever should have been the case. So I want to fix that. I don't think eliminating the defensive 3 seconds. I think the zone has kind of you can kind of skirt the defensive 3-second rule anyway in the NBA. You can kind of just tap a guy that's coming through. If you see a guy, watch Brook Lopez play defense. He does this a lot. If a guy is coming through the lane, just cuts through the lane, and you're standing in the middle, all you got to do is touch the guy. You touch that guy, you're guarding him. Now your 3-second count starts over because you can guard somebody in the lane for more than 3 seconds. Like if that person comes into the lane for 2 seconds and you switch onto another person and you're in the lane for 6 seconds, it doesn't matter if you've switched to 2-3 different people. That still is, you still have that ability to stay in the lane. So if a guy just cuts through, you just tap him, you're now guarding him for that split second and your count starts over. You can kind of game the 3-second rule. It's not exactly the same as FIBA. I don't think any of that makes a material difference. To me, the issue is the corner 3-pointer is too close. 22-foot jumper should not give you 50% more points. That's it. A 22-foot jumper should not give you 50% more points. 23-9 is the minimum now. That's where you get your extra points. 22 feet from the corner, it's too easy to get 50% more points. So it becomes just a 3-point shooting contest. I don't want that. That's why I want the corner 3 gone. Done. End of story. Up next, Brad Stevens' future and that script. The Celtics. I'm going to write a little script for the Celtics. A shout out, by the way, before I go, to Marcus Smart, who got married over the weekend. Pictures coming out of there are hilarious because one that I shared on the Locked On Celtics Twitter of Tatum, Missoula, and Brad Stevens looks like an album cover. It's amazing. I can't wait to see more of those photos coming out. Anytime the guys get together and dress up and get to take goofy photos, they're always gems. But shout out to Marcus Smart. I know he's no longer a Celtic, but until I see him in a Memphis uniform, I'm still holding on for a second. But shout out, congratulations to him on getting married. All right, today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is the place to go for NFL betting, NFL season. I'm recording this as the Patriots are currently down 17-3 to the Miami Dolphins. You want to throw some money on whoever the Patriots are playing, go for it. If you're a new customer, you can drop $5 onto a bet, whatever you want to bet on. You get 200 in bonus bets. That's guaranteed. That's how you become America's #1 sportsbook. $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, no better time to get into the action right now. The app, spectacularly easy to use. So easy. And so many betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, everything you can think of. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Kick off the NFL season. FanDuel is an official partner of the NFL. Just ask you if you're going to do it. Please gamble responsibly. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. I want to ask you to listen to the Locked On NBA podcast. Locked On NBA, I'm hosting it on Wednesdays with Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans. Rotating hosts all week long. It's a good show. It's fun. A look at the NBA. We've been going 5 days a week on Locked On NBA all off season. This just Locked On Network is giving you so much podcasting. It's great. And hey, if you're into the NFL, your favorite team is covered there too. So Locked On, whatever your favorite team is, check it out. Back to the mailbag. Let's see what Evelyn has to ask. With how much Brad Stevens has been involved with the Celtics since moving on from Butler, has he reached the ceiling of his career aspirations? I hope he sticks around, but will he try to climb higher up the corporate ladder? So that's an interesting question. I have never spoken to Brad Stevens about this. I don't know that he even aspired to be a general manager. When he came into Boston, I think he expected to be a coach. And this president of the basketball operations general manager role kind of obviously just fell into his lap. It scratches an itch that he definitely had from the other side of team building. When you're a coach in college, you get to kind of be both things. You get to coach, you have to put your team together by recruiting, and you get to make a lot of these decisions on your own. Now in the NBA, he's doing a lot of that. He obviously is putting the team together, and he doesn't have to coach. I think the coaching side of it, he really got burnt out fast. COVID messed with him. It cost him a lot of time with his family, and he just, that's not something that I think he was very happy about. Brad, if nothing else, is a strong family man. His son is going to college. He's got a younger daughter. I think, my guess, just knowing how these things go, once both kids are in college and they're kind of grown up and they kind of can, they're kind of gone anyway, I think things will open up for Brad Stevens professionally. What does that mean? I have no idea. But I think the option of going back to the sidelines, if he is so inclined, I think that opens up when he sees both kids gone, empty nest, and he's not disrupting their lives by moving around, right? I think that's the last thing he wanted to do. If they're in college, it doesn't matter where they go home to. You live in Boston, you live in Denver, you live in wherever, it doesn't matter. If he's in Boston for the rest of his career, great. If he loves this job so much that he doesn't want to do anything else, great. what does moving, climbing the corporate ladder mean beyond this? Not much beyond running a team at this point, unless he works for the league, in which case I would assume he moves to New York. But for now, at least for the next couple of years, 2-3 years, I think he's in Boston. I think he's comfortably in Boston. And then from there, he can see where he is. I don't have the empty nest thing happening. I've never, I don't have my own children. I have a teenage stepson, but the empty nest thing is, plays with people. So I don't know what he's going to be dealing with. So that'll be interesting. It'll be interesting once his daughter goes to college, and see where his head's at. Maybe, like I said, maybe he just loves Boston so much that he won't want to leave, and anything's possible at that point. Emily says, heading into the season, are there any teams that analysts are sleeping on? Any teams that are expected to be bad that have the potential to shine? Sleeping on. There's so many good teams, and I think things can change. There are trades that are still out there, right? There's the James Harden trade that's still out there. There's the Damian Lillard trade that's still out there. If Miami doesn't work out for Dame, if the Clippers, let's say that seems to be the destination most commonly mentioned with James Harden, if that doesn't pan out for him, where else does he go? Does he stay in Philly? Does Dame stay in Portland? Does he go somewhere else? Does he go to Brooklyn? Things can change in a heartbeat. So, but sleeping on, I don't think people expect Toronto to be very good. Maybe average, mediocre. Maybe they could be better. Scotty Barnes has the potential to be a really, really, really good player. It depends on what they do with Pascal Siakam, because that's a potential trade to be watching for this season. If they keep Siakam, that Siakam, Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, Dennis Schroeder, just coming off a MVP performance in the World Cup. Maybe he is, feeling confident after that, and maybe he has some impact on what's going on there. Maybe Toronto could be a tougher out than people think. Brooklyn is a team that's kind of be all over the place. Maybe they could be better than people thought. So sleeping on maybe those two teams. Bad teams that can be tough. I'm looking at Detroit. I don't know if Orlando counts as a bad team anymore. I think they're expected to be tough. Indiana seems to be the team that it doesn't. I don't think it fits the analysts are sleeping. I think what analysts might be saying is, hey, maybe watch out for Indiana. So I don't think they're sleeping on Indiana, but that might be a team that people are thinking like, well, they're not that great, and they might be decent. So those are the teams that I'm thinking. Out west, OKC is a team that people expect to be, I think, a team from last year that was, look, they were fighting for the play-in, right? They got into that play-in. Maybe I think everybody expects them. Again, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander coming off an incredible World Cup. He's a superstar. They get Chet Holmgren back. So maybe that's a team that people are kind of maybe not sleeping on, but a team that wasn't all that great last year, but can make some noise this year. But I don't know. I'll say that it's up in the air because of the trades, and I have no idea how this new CBA is going to impact the league's business. So there are things that can happen that all of a sudden a team that might not be so good to start the season makes a move, and it's like, oh no, wait a minute, watch out for these guys. So that's my best answer there. Edward, if the NBA had a script like many people joke about, how would you write the ideal script for the season and or for the Celtics to get the best outcome? All right, let's write a script for the Celtics. I mean, the ideal script for the Celtics is come out, dominate from the beginning. Jayson Tatum's the MVP. Celtics win 60 games and, march their way through the playoffs and win a championship. The absolute ideal script for the Celtics is an easy one, right? You come out strong, you play a balanced offense, the defense is better than we thought. Jayson Tatum takes another step forward and really steps into that MVP, and they dominate. That's very simple. That's the simplest script. Now, if you want to have some drama in there, then you probably have an injury. Maybe there's a stretch in January where the Celtics play without Tatum. Tatum actually ends up missing some time, and then he comes back and leads the Celtics to a huge February and March, and they overtake the Milwaukee Bucks in the last second. I think there's a late game in there that they overcome Milwaukee, and then they march through the playoffs. There could be a script like the 08 Celtics face, where they were really good in the playoffs, and then all of a sudden 7-game series in the opening round, struggle, and it's like, here we go again. I think if we want that redemption arc, if we want to get that the story of, hey, overcoming issues of the past, the Celtics look good all season long. They struggle in the first round of the playoffs again. They go to 7 games in the they lose games that they should win again, and then you get to the conference finals, and all of a sudden they start to figure it out, and it becomes like, oh my God, they're learning. That might be the best script for them. If you want to add NBA elements to that, Damian Lillard ends up going to Miami, and the Celtics face Miami in the conference finals again, and they end up beating Miami in the conference finals with Dame, and that, I think that would be a good part of the script. I think going through Philadelphia again would be a fun part of the script, because I love to see. I keep my impartiality for everything except watching Philly lose. That's it. I can't help it. It's the process. It's the process is what it is. It's the whole thing. It's that whole that just soured me so much that until Embiid retires, I will forever be so disdainful of the process that anytime Philly loses, I'm all in on that. That's how much the process bothered me. So those are the elements of the script that I think would be good for Boston to get the best outcome. You have to overcome some adversity, right? You have to keep the season interesting. As much as I would say I would love for Boston to run through the whole thing and be a 60-plus win team, part of me says, like, no, if we're writing a script and I can script the ending, then you got to have some drama in the middle of it to keep it interesting, right? It's got to be something. They got to go cold from 3. Joe Mazzulla has to stick with the no timeout thing. Something has to be, like, people have to still, Marcus Smart torches them in the return in his first game in Memphis. And there's, like, stuff like that. There's like some regret, like, oh God, was this trade not great? Maybe Porzingis doesn't mesh right away, but overcoming the adversity is always a great storyline. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. If we're writing a script and the script ends with Boston winning a championship, well, then you can mess with the middle of it and put some drama in there, because people like drama and keeps things interesting. But for the no sweat, no stress, no nothing, 60-plus win season, yeah, I think everybody in Boston would just say, let's just sign me up for that and be done with it. We'll come back. We'll have a little bit of fun. The All-Star game, a tweak to the All-Star game, rules that would be fun, and the reason why I'm wearing this hoodie, if you're watching on YouTube, that's all coming up next. Would love to have you check out the Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast after you're done with this podcast. Josh Lloyd is the GOAT, the best at analyzing, breaking it down, and getting you set up for your fantasy league. So check out Locked On Fantasy Basketball. I'm telling you, you can't be in fantasy basketball and not have Josh's analysis to help you out. Back to the mailbag to finish this show off here. Kenneth, don't you think the All-Star game would be much more lively, exciting, and intense if they make it USA versus the world? Even if it was no bearing, they would be playing for pride, so they would play harder. In theory, yes, but there's a flaw with this idea. The best players in the NBA, yes, the high-level all-stars, the best of the best, have been international players. However, with 12 guys per team, you're really putting a lot of pressure on finding 12 guys to make the all-star team as international players. You can find, I think last year there were 8, which is great, but there's 4 players that deserve all-star appearances that wouldn't have gotten them because you got to find an international player to round out the bench for the all-star. I do understand the concept, and I think if we get to a point where there is enough where we're just kind of choosing, if we're getting to a point where there's no risk of costing deserving all-stars spots so you can fit this kind of USA versus the world, if we can get to that point, then yeah, sure. But until then, I think you have to stay with. Now, I'm not all that thrilled with team captain versus team captain, and you pick it up. That's not always. I don't like that necessarily either. It kind of got that way because East versus West. So many teams in the West were stacked that it just it seemed unfair. But yeah, I'm not 100%. I just don't like the All-Star game as much. I don't mind All-Star Saturday, but All-Star game right now, it's not really much fun. The last one, yeah, Tatum scored like 50 or whatever, and that was great, but he just hit a bunch of shots. There wasn't a basketball game. All right, hey Simon, Jovian Shadow. Good day from down under. Fun one for you. What rules would you implement that would be awesome? And he suggests a couple. How about in the last 2 minutes of a quarter, a player taking a free throw can choose to forego the free throws for a half-court shot worth 5 points? Hey, that would be interesting. Late in the game, you get fouled, you're down. If you're down by 15, late in the last 2 minutes, you have an opportunity to get back, and I don't know, maybe guys practice hit half court shots. NBA players can hit half court shots fairly easily, actually, more easily than you think. So interesting concept. That would be. Now you can see the idea here. This isn't an actual rule change. These are awesome things that could happen. So I think that is possible. How about foul buyback? Anytime in the game, a foul can be bought back by a team. So if Tatum gets a 6th foul in a game and has 20 points, they can buy the foul and Tatum's points go down by 10. So the team total goes down by 10. Tatum gives up 10 points to get that foul back. Awesome concept. You can buy a foul back for, I don't know if 10 points seems like a lot. Because then you can only buy back the fouls of certain guys that have scored that many points. But if you can come up with that 7 points, 6 points, 5 points, I like that idea. I love the idea of, okay, fine. We don't want Tatum fouling out. He's got 20 and we're up by 17, or we're up by, or whatever. And we're not fully comfortable. Do you feel comfortable keeping him in the game and saying, hey, we'll keep the lead? Or are you afraid that you're going to lose the lead? There's some coaching areas in there that could be interesting. All right. I like those suggestions. My two things that I would love to see that won't happen. Number one, rule change, hockey style substitutions on the fly. No more waiting for a timeout. It's got to be after a make, and they both got to be in the back court, right? So Celtics come down. Jayson Tatum makes a three-pointer. In comes O'Shea Brissett. Jayson Tatum just walks off the floor. Brissett comes in. Boom. Tatum comes out for a rest. Up and down play. You don't have to wait for a stoppage. You don't have to create a stoppage. You just let things go. You just keep on. I love the idea of just a flow of the game where it's just, oh, here comes this guy for, here comes Kristaps Porzingis after a Robert Williams alley-oop catch, dunk, boom. He just stays, walks off the floor. Porzingis gets up, walks in. There you go. It's not on a fast break. It's after a make. You get to come in and whatever. Or after the other team makes a basket. Either way, however you want to do it. Hockey-style subs on the fly. I want to see that. Second idea, a double bonus. I guess I'm doing a lot of hockey-inspired ones. Double bonus power play. So after 5 fouls, you get free throws. But how about after 8 fouls in a quarter, you get a 1-possession power play. So you come on down, Tatum's dribbling, there's 7 fouls, you're playing, you're playing the Sixers. What the hell? Embiid hacks Tatum. It's the 8th team foul. Ball out of bounds. You obviously non-shooting foul, but we're like, whatever, yeah, forget it, whatever, shooting foul, whatever. You give the team a 5-on-4. Embiid steps off the floor. The Celtics get to play 5-on-4. If they score, whatever happens after the possession ends, Embiid comes right back onto the floor and runs on down the floor and joins them on the other end. After 8 fouls, I mean, you'd really see people specifically trying not to foul after 8 or 9 or 10, whatever the number is. But I want to see a 5-on-4. I want to see a power play in basketball. That would be my I would love to see that. That'd be fun. Final question, Johnny from Boise, Idaho. How about those Connecticut Sun? Is it nice to be able to just root for a team in the postseason and not have to worry about breaking down the game for your column or a podcast? Yes. It's a huge reason why I am a WNBA fan, because and I was at the Connecticut Sun game against the Minnesota Lynx. They lost. I've seen them now lose twice to Minnesota. I don't know what it is. Me there to watch them play Minnesota. I'm not going back. That's it. And do or die on Wednesday for them in their first round series. I was at Mohegan Sun. That's where I got this cool hoodie. Super cool hoodie. I love basketball. I think the women's game is a lot of fun. I think people who dismiss it are just simply comparing it to the NBA, and it's not. It's a different game. It's a different style. It's if you like college basketball, then you should like WNBA because it's played at just the same speed, probably faster in a lot of games. There's a lot of skill. There's a ton of skill on the floor. It's a lot of fun. It's a super fun game. I enjoy it, and I get to really lean into it because I get to go watch professional athletes, the best women in the world, go and play, and I get to root for the team. I get to yell for a t-shirt when I'm there. I get to sit in the stands and just be a fan. And it is so much fun to do because I watch 82 Celtics games plus, I lose count of other games on top of that. So it's like hundreds of games that I'm watching every season. And each time I watch a basketball game, it's staring at the screen, wide-eyed, trying to see as much of the floor as I can, trying to analyze things, trying to take notes and keep notes and it's a lot of work. And to be able to go to a game and be like, screaming at the ref because they missed the call and being like, come on, this is in the stands. All of that stuff, everything a fan does, to sit in the stands and have a beer and watch a game. Like, that is a lot of fun. I don't get to be a fan at many basketball games anymore. So I'll go to WNBA. I'll go to some Providence College games. I have a connection to Providence College from, when I was in high school. I learned a lot. Like, I honed my craft at their camps and went back and worked at their camps when I was in college. So I have some connection there. Plus my wife graduated from Providence College. So we go to a few Providence College games from time to time. That's a lot of fun. But that's it. That's the extent of my getting to watch games as a fan. So it's fun. I really enjoy it. I think WNBA basketball is a good time. And I'm not telling you, if you don't like it, you don't like it. That is fine. If you don't like it and you hop into the comments and you disparage it, then you're being a jerk. But I encourage, if you said, I gave it an honest shot years ago and I didn't like it, I would say, give it one more honest shot, because I think the game has evolved. It's grown and the athletes are good. And the game is good. The game is good. As a person who loves basketball, I think the game is good. I wouldn't tell you I wouldn't say it like this if the game wasn't good. So, go Connecticut Sun. I can't believe they gave up so many layups in that game. It was just a parade at the rim for Minnesota. They could have won that game so easily. But anyway, all right, that's the podcast. Thank you for being here. Monday through Friday now. We're back, baby. Daily podcast, Monday through Friday. No one else is but giving you daily podcasts. No one is giving you insider access like me, because I will be there for media day. I will be there at the practices. I will be there at all the games, in the locker room. So I will tell you what I see. I will tell you everything that is going on. I will give you my inside opinion from things that I see, and you're not getting that perspective, certainly not 5 days a week anywhere else. So subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your show, your podcast. If you watch the show on YouTube, subscribe there, and I would love it if you shared the podcast. Tell your friends, tell everybody that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.